Hey Garrett, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics and your delivery and get you to a point where, you're using a little bit more legs, a little bit more body, a little bit more lower half. We'll go through and talk a little bit about, how we use our hips, how that's the main driving point for velocity, and, we just got to make sure that we're using that body. So we'll go through and talk a little bit about your setup. We'll look at your foot strike, how you're releasing, and we just got to get you to a point where you're getting more familiar with pitching. You're just getting more consistent, and we'll kind of break down a few steps. So basically, setup wise, make sure that you have a sense of that rubber. All right, we got to make sure. All right, right here, you see you're off the rubber. We got to make sure that that foot's right next to that rubber. We're going to get called for a balk. All right. You can see in this first one too, you're really far off the rubber here. So just be aware of that mound, because we need that foot right up next to it, all right, or else we'll get called for a balk. Okay. So, looking at this next one here. All right. So once we get upset, biggest thing with pitching, with athletics, with strength is posture. We got to make sure that our upper body is nice and strong and it's nice and straight, all right? As you watch here through your motion, you can see this big tilt back, all right? So you've lost your posture. You go from being straight to now you're tilted back, all right? So you can see how everything's just kind of in that line, all right? So what we need to do, and then you can see how that everything comes back before you go forward. So it's just all about being efficient, and just limiting movements. So just try to make sure that once this foot comes around, all right, we're maintaining our posture over that back foot. All right. So you're coming through here, try to stay on that line, and then get going, all right? So now the next point that we look at is once that knee gets to its highest point. All right, so here's your knee's highest point. And basically at this highest point, we want to have our hips closed off, ready to go forward first, all right? You can see how your foot's in front of your hip, all right? We want to try to get this knee at least a belt height over this back leg, all right? Foot's nice and neutral, all right? And what that does is that closes off your hips to get you in a nice, powerful position to have them lead down the hill, all right? You do have, you're good at, I like where your glove is, all right? Everything's there. Now just let this knee get back, these hips get closed, so we can get powerful and use our legs. All right. So now what we want to see at this point is we want to see hips go forward. All right, as this knee starts to go down, and then have that ball pop out. All right, and you can see how again posture-wise, you're going to see that posture start going forward, and then you just kind of fall forward. Just kind of glide down the hill, all right? We want to try to see you get a little bit more active, drive a little bit quicker, so you're getting to a point where, your hands at this point, you're maybe, down here somewhere, all right? Instead of just lagging back over that rubber. Once that leg starts going forward, you got to get those hips going down the mound as quickly as possible, all right? We want to stride down that hill, all right? So, foot strike, once that front foot first hits the ground, which is right here, all right, we can get a whole another maybe foot to 2 feet of length. Mark off 5 or 6 shoe lengths, wherever that may be, but we want to try to get to a point when we land, our knee isn't right over our ankle. We want our foot out here, and we want that knee still extended a little bit, all right? It's not going to be straight, but we just need to get everything out there a little bit farther, all right? Upper body wise, your arm's at a pretty good angle. All right, you follow a pretty good arm path. Now just make sure that we're not locking this joint out. We want to try to keep that glove below our elbow a little bit. All right, but at foot strike, just make sure that this elbow's staying up a little bit more. You're doing good at getting that glove out over that front foot. Now we want to see that glove stay out over that front foot, and then have this elbow rotate down. And then we bring our body out to our glove, all right? So as we go through our motion, you can see that glove pop down, and you can see you collapse over this back leg, and you're almost straight as you're releasing the ball. Alright? You can see how everything, you're basically straight up, knees back, gloves right down here. So to use our legs, we want that glove to stay out front here, have our body rotate towards our glove. Alright? And so now, through that release, we're going to see this glove still in the picture out here, but we're going to see ourselves staying longer through our back leg, so we're creating more of an angle like this. Alright? We're going to want to try to drive through all this whole back leg and straighten it out to get our head and our chest down over that front foot. Alright, so now we're going to be out here at release instead of, back here. So you'll pick up a lot. You'll be releasing the ball a lot quicker to the plate, and you'll be getting yourself just using those legs a lot more. You can see how you kind of just finish and then kind of fall backwards. We want to try to finish where we're just all that momentum, all that weight's going forward, so our momentum's still going to be going this way after release, alright, and not back and fall backwards, alright. So it's just basically for you, it's just a matter of just using those legs, just having that sense of that mound, so you can get those legs going, and just make sure you're driving out over that front foot. Even when you're playing catch, just make sure that chest is finishing out over that front foot. You're driving all the way through your back legs. Everything's just working in the lower half-wise. Your upper body's pretty good. Everything's kind of there. Just make sure that glove's out a little bit longer. But again, just make sure your initial setup, get next to that mound, get those hips going down, and, just get more dynamic. So as you get older and get stronger, it's going to get a lot easier. It's going to get a lot more velocity. But it's just the biggest thing is just getting that lower half involved. So hopefully you're kind of able to see a few things and make a few adjustments, but hopefully you had a great time at camp. Thanks for making it out. We'll see you again with ABC.